Oh my, it's Kellee White.
Hey, it's James Van Todd.
What are you up to?
Thinking about changing the world.
Me too. We should do a show together.
What would it be about?
Let me show you.
The James and Kellee Show. Hi there.
Hi, Kellee.
How you doing? I have to read. This is so cute. Stormy Mahone says, psychic practice. Mom and dad will be wearing matching purple shirts. So I'll be mom. You could be dad.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Stormy. Next time. Seemed everybody was wearing the green T-shirts today, except for me. Hi, everybody. Hi, James.
Hi, Kellee.
Oh, my gosh.
What's the weather like where you are? Is it humid or is it hot or is it
actually really nice where I am? It's actually very nice. Probably the only place in the country that is. I understand everybody. Where you are, it's hot, isn't it?
hot? Right? Yeah, it's very hot and humid. Actually, humid as well, which is very rare for here. So
Yeah. Have you been feeling the emotional energies of this Neptune retrograde?
oh, as you know, I have. Yes. It's funny because the full moon up 2 days before, but this one not only was a full moon, but it felt it's just the most rockiest going and moving and fast, moving very, very quickly, and there's no stability, and you're like, whoa, what's going on here? So
no stability. And before we even get even further, I do want to say, give our condolences and our love and prayers to the families in Miami.
It's a horrible situation.
Horrible situation.
One of well, there's a good side to it. When it happens so quickly like that, most of the people probably sleeping, and they'll wake up with their families around them. They'll wake and they won't feel any of the pain. Yeah. So I'm thinking of it that way. But they'd wake up, and the family members in the spirit world will know this is going to happen, because in that world there's no time. There's no time, so it doesn't happen like here. They prepare for that sort of an accident. We refer to these things as accidents, but from the spirit point of view, they know it's going to happen. For us, it is an accident. They know this is going to happen. Yes. Is it destined? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. I think sometimes it's another person's free will, and in this situation, I think it might have been done with the engineering, might have been lax, or something was lax.
And I also believe that. The people that perished, that they really gave their lives, martyrs gave their lives to help change the laws and the rules to save many people.
It's true. It happens quite a bit, and something happens. I know a lot of parents lost children in car accidents, and because of that, whether there are laws that are created, whether there are certain traffic laws that are created in their name, it happens that way. It does.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh gosh. Well, we have a big show today.
Everybody must have a paper and pen in their hands for this, because we're going to give a lot of information based on what you've asked us, or people have asked us over the many, many years. And I'm not an expert on this subject. Kellee is.
Oh, I'm a crystal freak in nature. I love crystals. I love crystals to the point where every time I go, the thought of even going crystal shopping, I get so excited. And Don will say, "You have enough." I mean, like, why are you doing? I get out of my way. They're babies to me. I love my crystals. And in fact, James and we share an amethyst point crystal. How great is that? Is that the greatest? I love that. I love that. That's an amethyst. I know. We'll have to talk about these, but
now, Kellee, first of all, what is a crystal?
Well, a crystal is actually it's when in nature, it's a mineral. It's when liquids cool and they start to harden, and depending on the certain molecules and depending on iron in it, it could be liquid rock, and that's when magma cools and the crystals are formed. And crystals would get their colors from all kinds of different things. I mean, depending on the element that's in it, if it has more iron in it, or if it has more titanium or manganese or chromium, anything can change the color.
Like diamonds are crystals, really, too. When you
yes, they sure are. They sure are diamonds.
Sure.
Yes. Yes, for sure. And I know that crystals have a consciousness. When we talk about
100%.
an awareness and a consciousness. And I thought even before we start the show, James, or before we go into the crystals, I really want to tell a couple of quick stories about how I know about the consciousness of crystals. And I think everybody should really listen to this because it's two unbelievable stories. The first one, I was with my brother and his wife, and I had just walked into their house. And my brother said, "Oh, I have this beautiful amethyst." And I said, "Oh, it's lovely." And he said to me, "Where does it want to go?" And it was on a table. So I said, "Well, let me ask the crystal." So I asked the amethyst, "What room do you want to be in?" And the crystal said back to me, "I want to be half in the bedroom and half in the living room." So I said this out loud, and my brother said, "Well, how in the world would that happen?" I said, "I have no idea." At that exact moment, the crystal leaped off the table and broke completely in half.
What?
The consciousness is unbelievable. The second story that I want to say is also about an amethyst, which was unbelievable. I was at a rock show and I had $250 cash. And you know, when you typically go to these rock shows, they only will take cash. They wouldn't take credit card or check. And I only had $250, but I so wanted this amethyst. It was this beautiful piece of amethyst. It was about 2 feet tall and it was just so lovely and beautiful. And I was talking to this amethyst and I so wanted this amethyst. And the man behind the counter was just this mean, abrasive asshole. He was just, I thought, boy, these crystals are not going to want, this energy is so bad. And the
What's around
crystal,
crystals? This guy was working with crystals. And he was that
horrible,
way.
with horrible energy. And the crystal was wanting so badly to go home with me. So I said, "Sir, how much is this crystal?" And he said, $300. And I said, "You know, it was 5 minutes to 5. They were closing at 5. I said, I only have 250. May I mail you a check?" Because there was no time for me to even go to a money machine. And nobody I was with had any more cash. And I said, "I'll mail you a check." And he said, "No, no, no, I'm going to take this crystal back." And I felt just sick from it. You know, I was so upset with this crystal. So I walked about 6 feet away. The crystal exploded on the table and pieces fell out everywhere. And this little piece right here hit me in my leg.
Wow.
This little tiny piece that is probably the most powerful one I have. And I've got crystals for days here.
Wow.
That's how intelligence,
Kellee.
that's what they have. That's the energy of a crystal. So I know, right?
And I think you're going to say something because of his energy, because crystals will really activate, or they will really amplify the energy that's around them as well. So I'm thinking maybe this gentleman was being amped without even knowing it, because it'll bring up that vibration so quickly that he probably doesn't even know it. I mean, I put that crystal stores around the world, and especially one in Brazil. It was very interesting. And it was out in Rio somewhere. It was well known. And it was 2 football fields large, okay? A bottom floor and a top floor. And these are crystals that they sell to place all over the world, to stores and so forth. And every type of crystal you can imagine. And I go there with a friend of mine, friend Brian Weiss. And we went there, and the man that drove us there was from the store, and he's complaining on the way out to the store that he gets headaches all the time. And then he drove us back. And during that time in the crystal shop, I was getting a little bit of a headache, and I was like, whoa, pulled me big force out of my body because of the energy of all these crystals. So on the way home, we said to him, "Do you think it's because you work at a crystal store that you have problems sleeping and that you have a headache? Because it's such intense energy, it can activate, and really, it does that, increases and amplifies the energy all around."
Yes,
Sure.
absolutely it does. Wow. So what do you think is the best way to choose a crystal? Because there's
Well,
a couple of
before we get to
ways.
that, before we get to that, I just think, because people ask me too, and they go, "What do you think is the best crystal for you?" And I don't know. I think, as you said, the best thing is to ask the crystal. What I do is, when I pick a crystal, best for me, I really use my left hand, and as I receive, and
Yes.
or give the right, go out with the left, in with the
No,
right
it's
hand.
the left. Yes.
It's the left. And I'll hold it, and then I'll hold it to my heart, and I'll feel if it resonates to be with me, my vibration. If there's a message for me, it says something about how it's going to expand my world, or do something special for me. It has in mind. And if I don't get anything, I don't take it. If it does, I take it. And sometimes I have crystals where it says take me, but it doesn't tell me where it wants to go. But later on, I'll know exactly where it goes. And I'll put it down in my house, and then it changes its position. It says I need to go somewhere else. It does
Always.
that. So that happens to me as well.
Yes.
But it's really interesting, because certain crystals only want to be in a certain position or a certain
Oh,
way, and even when the points are facing, like
right.
it's a conductor of energy. It brings
Yes.
energy through. It's like the crystal radios they used to use in the 30s, and they used to use them for energy to come, the sounds to come by the sound wave. It brings in energy. It just
It
does that.
does. Yeah. And they're fussy. Crystals are fussy.
Pussy. You got to honor them. Got to
Oh,
honor them.
you must honor them. And before we even get into crystals, so that's one way, James, is you use your intuition. You hold with the left hand, that's your receiving hand. You're absolutely right. Another way is, let's say you have a problem speaking, or you're anxious to speak. You may want to then do some research to find the best crystal for your throat chakra. So you might want to view things that way. So there's a couple of ways for the left brain people to find crystals too. You know.
Yeah, because remember the energy, or that's an easy way to look at it is crystals are tuned into a certain frequency or vibration because of the different types of crystals and people that make up. So they will resonate with certain energy areas of the body, chakra points, and they will amplify that chakra point. And that's really, or activate it, move it. That's what it does. So a lot of people use crystals in healing. A lot of people use them to open up. A lot of people use them to develop. I'm going to talk a little bit about the crystal grids in just a little bit, but they use them in all different ways for everything. There's a crystal to use for everything, really.
They are. And as soon as you find a crystal that calls for you, or you know this crystal is yours, as soon as you bring it home, make sure you cleanse it, because the crystal's been in many locations. Often they come from Brazil, as you mentioned, or different caves, and then the people, whatever their energy was that was getting the crystal, and then where it gets sold and on its route. So you really want to make sure when you get it home that a great way to cleanse them is to put them in a big tub or in a sink with some salt water. Add some kosher salt to it. That's cold water. Let it sit. Salt. I just let it sit for a while.
Kosher salt. I love
Kosher
it.
salt.
And
And
they chew it right.
and then I often will put it out, and I love to put them out on a full moon. And
Same.
then you too. And then it gets the energy from all of that. And it starts to get real clear. And then often I'll even put that in the sun on a sunny day to do that, to get it real prepared for me.
Wow.
Whatever's good for you.
Yeah, whatever's good for you. And in just a second, we'll talk about the ways you can use a crystal. And as we get into that, I'll tell you how I use some of my crystals. But yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, this is so fun. I just love crystals. Oh my gosh. So when people say to me, Kellee, what crystal should I have? Everybody, I'd like to start with this, should have a quartz crystal. Now, you can have them in any size. And by the way, I carried this in my purse during COVID, James. I literally used a quartz crystal during COVID in my purse to go grocery shopping, because it would pull in all the energy around me, and absorb it for me. So it doesn't really matter the size, but I love this is a quartz crystal, and quartz, it's a beautiful piece, and I love quartz. I've got it all over, especially with the work I do. I tend to have a lot of quartz, and a quartz is so great because it covers everything. It's like a master healer. It will pull up all the energy from all your other crystals, and it just has a lot of powerful energy to it, and it's great for times of trouble. It's great for times of just when you need help. Great for healing, great for meditation. It's great for everything. It's an all-around player for this, and it's great because it amplifies energy. If you're in a negative situation, it amplifies energy. It stores, it releases. It's great for aiding in memory. So I love crystal. Everybody should have a quartz crystal.
I carry them all over the place.
Yeah.
I'm looking for one on my desk here. I do have somewhere.
James, let me ask you, do you ever put them in your garden?
That's a very interesting one. I have, yes, I have a moon garden, which you'll be seeing in August, that I created.
Can't wait.
And when I was living in Laguna Beach, they were unearthing for a new hotel, St. Regis Hotel between Dana Point and Laguna Beach, and they uncovered all these huge quartz crystals. So This is very interesting. Where I live now in San Diego, Encinitas, and South Laguna Beach, and I didn't know this when I moved these both places, they're made of bedrocks of quartz crystal. And there are places all along, well, California itself is rich, especially the southern part, especially San Diego. It's interesting coming out here for the gold rush. There are mineral deposits all over San Diego area. And I actually have a guy who cleans out my little waterfall I have, and he owns a little mineral area, and they go looking for different minerals all the time, and they get them. They used to be very, very rich in mineral deposits here along San Diego, and they still are, by the way. They still are.
I think I went digging in one in Pala or Pella. Am I saying that
That's
right?
exactly this guy at Pala, and this guy has his mining place is Pala, so that's his gig, and that's been known here. It still has it. Very interesting. And yes, so what happened was, I actually bought a piece of quartz crystal, probably the size of, I don't know, it's huge, huge, and it sits in my garden, my moon garden, and I still have it. I'll never go anywhere without that when I move. And it weighs a good, I don't know how many pounds, a ton. I don't know where it weighs, but it weighs a lot. And I have that, and I have a huge amethyst crystal in my living room, right at the door. So when people come in, it just transmutes that energy right away. And any negativity, just like, whoa. People come into my house, they'll feel this amazing energy. They'll say, oh, it feels really good in here. And it's because, well, it's a combination of things, but a lot of the crystals I have here. And I got that in Brazil. That one I brought home. I went and bought a lot of crystals at that place I visited. And they sent a cargo thing to the airport. We had to go pick up the warehouse. And there's a special thing to pick up these. And I'd bring a moving truck to hire these guys to move these crystals. Wow. But yeah, here's a story for you, Kelly. Speaking of places of crystals, I once brought a group of people down to Brasilia. I used to do this about 30 people to different spiritual centers throughout Brazil. And one of the places we went to was Brasilia, the capital of Brazil. And that was a trip and a half, because we went to see John of God before he was John of God, when he was really just a farmer, a healer. And we went to see a lady she was a healer who used energy from UFOs and also from, I don't know what else, but it's a very heavy UFO thing going on there. Big population. And they use a lot of the Earth energy UFOs they use iron ore a lot. They need. And it's really interesting, because after Brazil, you have to meet this lady. Then we went to a town called Crystalline. And Crystalline is made up of quartz crystal all over the ground. And we literally had a lunch picnic on crystals, and you could take as many at that time. You could take as many as you want and bring them home with you. Little piece of it. I still have many here in my house, and it was hysterical because Americans, my group, lovely, they'd be lugging this stuff in the plane. I'm like, you really need all of that. You really don't need, right? Yeah, it's a place called Crystalline. So there are pockets of these places all over the world.
Do you think that people vibrate to a higher vibration there because of it?
Definitely, without a doubt. Well, I know Encinitas is known for yoga. This is where yoga started in the 1940s, Yogananda, and this is a hotbed of crystallized rock down here, and same in Laguna. And it's really interesting. It's very spiritual places. Now, Sedona is also a very strong iron ore. It is known for its iron and virtually minerals, other minerals as well. But yes, very much so. When you have that concentration of minerals, you'll have more higher vibration frequency out there. So it like attracts like. It would draw those beings, those people who are at that higher vibration or ascending in many ways.
And crystals are from the mineral kingdom, and the mineral kingdom also is where homeopathy can come from. So it's
nature heals all.
It sure does, doesn't it? Oh my gosh. Well, as you mentioned, amethyst, and for people who have never seen amethyst, I've got a big piece back there, and we've got our wand. I love amethyst. I think amethyst, everybody should have a piece of amethyst, okay? Because it's protective, it's healing, it brings love, it helps the mind get rid of negative thoughts, it helps promote sobriety. How interesting is that, right? And it aids in insomnia. So
does it really, Kelly?
Yes, James. Yep. So you put this by your bed, put this one and by your bed.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. And it also helps to relieve pain and stress, and it boosts your hormone production.
Well, I have a book here which has been in my library for many, many years. It's the best book that I've ever found at Crystal. It's called The Book of Stones.
Ooh. Oh,
It's
that's
a
a great book.
great, great book. So I'm going to read a little bit what you when you bring up the stone. I'll read what this has to
Okay.
say too.
Oh,
Amethyst also
please.
is protection,
Protection.
purification, divine connection, because it's a pineal
Mhm.
gland it works.
Yep.
Release of addictions, as you said. Third eye, crown, and etheric, and quartz. It's quartz, of course. And they use it. And very interesting. Back in 25,000 BC, the Neolithic people in Europe used it at least as early as that time. In ancient Egypt, it was used to beads of amulets. Early Greek and Roman societies placed high value on the amethyst, and has long been viewed as a stone of royalty, utilized in crowns, scepters, and the rings of bishops.
Ooh. Isn't that interesting? Oh my gosh. So, James, that's a great one. So, another one, an interesting one, is amber. Are you familiar with amber?
I have amber in my house. I don't know enough for the properties of amber.
Well, here's just a little piece of amber, but what I find interesting about it is that it's so old, it suspends time because it's so ancient. This is such an ancient piece. Um, they found it. They find it in it's an ancient gemstone. They find it in far away places down far below, and it helps you get rid of your baggage if you're carrying extra baggage.
Really?
Yes, anything that's been like, I don't know, bogging you down, like extra emotional baggage. It's great for that, amber, because
Well, this says
it's ancient.
ancient. They say here solar energies, clarification, healing, solar plexus, and it's an organic material made up of fossilized natural botanic resins.
Fossil, yes.
The ancient Greeks term amber was electron, a word referring to the sun. Amber is known to develop an electric charge when rubbed. And our word electricity derives from the ancient Greek term for amber. The word amber comes from ambar, the Arabic word for ambergris, a similarly colored material discharged from the sperm whale and used in making perfumes. So who the hell knew that? I didn't know.
Who knew that? Sperm whale. Who knew? Unbelievable. Wow. Okay. So another one that people ask me a lot about is it's called actually Amazonite. And I actually have a piece of it.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it.
You sent me it, Kelly. You sent me a big one of those.
I did because I love it. I love it because it helps with healing. It helps with healing. It helps to balance you emotionally. It's therapy. It helps with trauma. That's why I had it. This helps with trauma. Amazonite. Oh, now that's fluorite.
Fluorite.
That's fluorite. Now, fluorite is so creative. I love fluorite is one of those great ones. James, show that one again because that is such a great one.
So it has to be for healing as well because I mean it works.
Healing. It's for truth, James, telling your truth, consciousness, aura cleansing. That would be a great cleanser because it's got the point on it, and it's protection and it stabilizes the aura. Oh, and it's so for creativity. Let's say you're stuck in a place where you're just not that creative. Let me tell you what, you get yourself a piece of fluorite, and it's amazing. And it comes in different colors. You can see like that's like a bluish green. Oh, how beautiful. And purple. That's a spectacular piece.
Gorgeous one. Wow, thank you, Kelly. You sent it to me. You have good taste, Kelly.
I do have great taste in this. I mean, that's just a beautiful one.
Yeah, it keeps right here.
Oh my gosh. What is your favorite, James? What are your favorite crystals?
Amethyst and rose quartz.
Oh, let's talk about rose quartz. Everybody should have a piece of rose quartz. Now, this is a polished one. I can't find my unpolished one, but I love rose quartz. It's fabulous for healing your heart. It's fabulous for if you've gone through a difficult relationship,
That's right.
a loss of a loved one. It heals. It's the most healing stone, I think, for your heart. You want to use this one for your heart, and it's a great one too for meditation. And we'll definitely be talking about that. But rose quartz is something that everybody should have a piece of rose quartz for them because
it's mostly found in Brazil and Madagascar. That's where it's mostly found from.
And South
Dakota, USA? Yes. And it's the quintessential stone of love for oneself, love for life's partner, children, family, friends, community, the earth, the universe. Out of all the stones, besides white quartz and the amethyst, I think people need to have a pink quartz, no doubt about it. Whenever I do healing work for myself or others, I will use it in grids as well. And I will lie down, and I use that pink quartz a lot as activation points. I really do that quartz crystal. I do, and it works really well. I love the resonation. I resonate with that. That's quartz. I just do. I just love that. Amethyst and quartz are my favorite. I resonate with
Amethyst and quartz, and for me, the other one that I just love. I love the calcites. I love the calcites for healing. Green calcite. I'll tell you what's so great about this. And I think I gave you a piece of this too, James, of green calcite. The calcites are very soft. And so let's say you're anxious, or you have a child that's anxious, or you're going through a medical something, you're going to have surgery. A piece of green calcite is so, it's like just, it's a soother. It picks up everything. It needs to be cleansed probably more than the other ones because it will pick up a lot of stuff. But a green calcite, that's one of my favorites, James.
It has relaxation, emotional balance, release of stress, resentment, connection with the heart, and found in massive crystallized form, mostly in Mexico.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's refreshing in the etheric body in the same way that a plunge into a swimming hole can be for the physical. It is cooling to the hot emotions such as anger and irritability. It nurtures positive traits like compassion and altruism, and it clears the heart chakra of stress. Let me repeat that. It clears the heart chakra of stress and other types of unhealthy psychic debris. Everybody should have that as well in their library, in their toolkit. You really should.
Green calcite, it's the best.
And it's just one of being more attuned to nature and the spirits of plants and animals. I'm going to get, I'm not going to use the one you gave me. I'm going to get another one and put it outside. That's what I'm going to do.
Oh, I think you should. I think you should.
Yeah.
Tippy Landis asked, how do you know you are buying real crystals? That's a good question. Well, for me, I actually look at the energy. I feel the energy. I talk to the crystal, and that's how I judge if it's real or not.
And look where you're buying it from. Who are you buying it from?
Who are you buying it from? Yeah.
I realize that as well.
Yeah. I have to show you, James, my favorite crystal. Look at this. And I think I gave you a piece of this. This is chrysalis.
I have a piece that is outside, actually. I have that in my patio outside my master bedroom.
It's unbelievable, this piece, but it's for musicians and empaths and anybody who's really sensitive. And if you have a chrysalis with a CH.
Butterfly.
Yes, and it's just delightful. But if you're stuck creatively, get yourself a piece of chrysalis. You have to be careful, especially because it falls apart like so easily. It crumbles. You know, like empaths, we take a lot and then we start to crumble. So I just love that one. I love that one.
Yeah.
I have to tell you my other favorite story too, real quickly, is my favorite of all time is larimar. Larimar is the stone of Atlantis. So if you're drawn to Atlantis, you might want to look at larimar, but it also brings your soulmate. And when my brother was doing a movie, my same brother that I had the crystal with the amethyst crystal situation, he was doing a movie in the Dominican Republic, and he bought a piece of larimar for me. And he didn't know what it was. He just loved it. And a week later, I met Don.
Wow. Really?
1 week later. It's an amazing stone.
Larimar?
Larimar, larimar. And I love larimar.
Calming, cooling, soothing to the emotional body, enhanced communication, feminine energy, connection to the goddess's energy for the throat chakra. It's a form of blue peckerlite, a sodium calcite mineral. Wow. It brings in partners. That's right. There you go.
Yes.
It's one of the tremendous benefits of the throat chakra, providing power of clear communication with the emotional strength and stability that enable one to speak from the heart. It brings honesty in their expressions. Larimar is a stone of feminine power, bringing in the goddess energies and allowing one to access the divine feminine within. It supports a state of confident well-being and a relaxed knowledge of one's capacities.
Yeah. It's the best. I love it. Ooh, you know what we should talk about, James, is obsidian. Obsidian. Yes. Because this is for grounding. Yeah, why don't you let's talk about that because obsidian, it's a
Obsidian.
black stone, and it helps for getting rid of negative energies. So let's say you've been around a negative cranky ass. You put one of these around, get this in your hand, grip it.
Belt made of it. Yeah.
Gives exactly. This is very helpful for obsidian, and the other one that's really helpful for the same thing is black tourmaline, and
Black tourmaline
it's a
and very for
wonderful,
grounding. Great for grounding.
excellent for
Uh,
grounding.
Obsidian. Let me just read this: is psychic
Hmm.
protection. Okay,
Hmm. Yes.
grounding, negativity, spirit communication, earth chakra, and it powerfully eliminates negative energies, like you said, in oneself and one's environment. It is like a psychic vacuum cleaner, cleansing the auric field of disharmony, negative attachments, astral plane junk, and one's own emanations of anger, greed, fear, resentment, etc. It's a strong grounding stone. So all you energy workers and sensitives and empaths, you really should have some sitting around your house,
Yes.
especially when you do your work. If you work in a
Hmm.
certain room, you should
Hmm.
have it there to help ground you because a lot of us are out.
Absolutely, it's a great for grounding. Great for any of that. Um, how about my other favorite, turquoise, James? I
Love
love
turquoise.
turquoise. You
Love
know how we have
turquoise.
so many pieces of jewelry with turquoise? There's a reason for that. Because turquoise also is very grounding, it's creative, and it heals, it's said to heal the mind.
Yes, yes. I use turquoise a lot, actually.
Do
Turquoise,
you?
yes, because it's communication and spirit expansion.
Yes. I love
And
that.
it's throat chakra, which is expression, of course.
Hmm.
It's made from copper, aluminum, phosphate. Uh, let's see, it's the longest of all the gemstones. It's the longest used of all the gemstones. Beads dating back to 5000 BC have been found in Iraq. The Egyptians were mining turquoise in the Sinai in 3200 BC throughout history. Turquoise has been fashioned in jewelry, decorations for a host of objects, from weapons to amulets. Turquoise is a natural gemstone of Iran and has been the most valuable gem in Tibet for many centuries. About 1,000 years ago, Native Americans began to mine and fashion turquoise, and the gem has been found in burial sites from Argentina to New Mexico. In current times, the best quality turquoise stones come from Iran, Afghanistan, Australia, Tibet, and the southern western United States.
Wow. I
Wow.
love it. I love it. Are you familiar with selenite for meditation? I have a big piece back there.
You sent
It's
me selenite. I
I
love
did.
this.
I think I sent you the same piece. So I have the big one back there, but this is what a small piece of it. But when you're meditating, often it's really an interesting thing when you start to meditate. You can
I think I
whatever
have one. I
there.
think I have one here.
That's the one I got for you. I got one for me, and I got one for you. How great is that? I love that piece, but that's a great piece to have for meditation. But a small one, and it's very inexpensive. A small one is
It is.
of selenite. It's wonderful because if you can put it, as James said earlier, in your left hand is your receiving hand, and you can ask it, put your intention for meditation. What is it that you want to meditate on? What is it? Where do you want to go? Where do you is your soul? What is your soul needing at that moment?
Yeah, and again, when I used to travel all the time and do
Hmm.
demonstrations around, I used to bring gems with me in my, not the
Oh
big
yeah.
ones, but small ones. I would have a pocket of them or a bag full of them, and I would always have that. And depending upon the energy of the room, sometimes I carry them in my pocket. I have my pocket a lot, actually. I would do that. I wear them around my neck all the time.
Did you ever, when you were doing that, James, meet somebody and know that you're holding that stone and know, you know what, this person needs that one?
Oh, I've done that a lot, Kelly.
I
As you
know
know,
you have.
I used to have crystal bracelets from
Right.
my friend who creates intense jewelry, and there are
Uh-huh.
all different types of crystals on there. And I've literally been on airplane rides, and I'd give them to people that need them, like the flight attendant. I say, "You need this specialized one." I just hand her one of my bracelets, very expensive, and I just say, "You need it." And to me, it's something that you borrow.
I
It's
couldn't
yours.
agree more.
Give your
Mhm.
host, but then you find someone that really needs that energy, you give it to them, and
Yes.
that's what I do. I
Uh,
give them to people who need them.
yeah,
If
no.
I've used them, you have them, right?
Oh, I do the same thing. Oh my gosh. And everybody asked me too about smoky quartz. Smoky quartz is a famous one that, and I love to look inside of the quartz because you can see what's going on. You can see if there's a message in a quartz for you. But smoky quartz is really interesting because if you're carrying an old belief system or an old belief structure, smoky quartz, if you're ready to make a switch, smoky quartz is a great
Right.
one to help you to release the old baggage, something that's no longer serving you anymore. You know how people, you have a belief system, it's no longer working for you any longer. Smoky quartz is a great
Okay.
one for that.
They say it's also grounding, transmutation in negative energies, practical organization, manifestation of one's dreams, inspirations, and yes, they say it's also has a hexagon crystal system that forms in prisms. Smoky quartz can be varying in color, very pale, tan to deep chocolate brown, and the color comes from natural irradiation. Clear quartz can be made smoky artificially by treating it with radium or X-rays. Smoky quartz is found in many countries, including Brazil, Australia, Madagascar, Switzerland. Yes, I thought also it has. I thought someone once told me that it was for worrying as well.
Yes, they call it the worry stone.
The worry stone.
Yeah, for helps with anxiety. Yeah,
Yes,
which I
yes.
love. Well, let's talk about for a moment crystal grids. What is a crystal grid?
Well, a crystal grid. So anytime you work with crystals, well, any kind of work you do, but mostly when you make grids up, a crystal grid. I wrote down so I remember everything I said. It's how you place your crystals. So I used to do crystal grids without even know what I was doing, but I felt there are certain areas of the space, the auric space, if you will, where a person had to have more energy come into the body. And I would make it's usually sacred geometry, and it is which are these are sacred geometry right here. You see this?
Oh, yeah.
Geometry. And I would just do that around the body, and I'd put certain crystals for the head, for the sides, and on the feet, activation points, if you will. And then I'd also do for the chakra points. I'd put various ones, which I know you're going to tell us about the chakra points, which crystals go with each chakra point to activate the chakra point. And let's read the formal definition of it. Metaphysically, it's like a crystal grid uses a sacred geometry to harness the energy of healing stones and connect with each other and with your intention. So before you do a crystal grid, you have to know what the intention is. And as you're lying the crystals down, you should be repeating your intention or thinking of your intention as you bring those crystals down. That's what you should be doing. So it's always about the intention. The connection is a meditative, holistic, and positive experience for anyone who wishes to try. And it amplifies your intention, basically what it does here. It's very, very important for crystal work. So intention is the most important aspect of creating the grid, since the goal of the grid is to manifest that situation, that intention. Choose something clear, positive, and felt deep within your heart. It should be about you, not others. Isn't that interesting? Except when you're working to heal others, when you're as a practitioner, and that's what you're using, because I've done that myself, and I've been healed with that. When many people choose to write down multiple goals related to intentions, since a crystal grid is spectacular moment for focused health and manifestation. So there are grids you can use for love, bringing love into life, for health, for manifestation, for abundance. There are a whole bunch of different ones. And which grid do you use? Well, some do believe there are some particular sacred geometry grids for certain things. I think it's more important about the intention and the placement of those stones and the stones that you use. So the favorite pattern for crystal grid is some aspect of the flower of life. The fundamental spatial arrangement for the sacred geometry tells us in the framework of our entire universe. The form known as the seed of life is especially good for grid because it represents all possible beginnings and all possible paths, a gateway to the infinite possibility. Other changes and other shapes have their own sacred meanings, like the stable square, the infinite circle, the energy enhancing Metatron's cube, the compass for us. So there are a whole bunch of different ones depending on what you want. I find that when I do a grid, I know what the stones are for the, and I just will psychically, intuitively place them in certain areas that it's almost like the crystal will tell me where to place it. And people can have that grid, they can lie in the grid for how long they feel with that intention, or you can lay out a grid and keep it there for as long as you want. No, you'll be in it. You can just have it there.
Wow.
I've done it with my properties. I've done protection grids around my property. Yes, I mean, it's a good thing to do physically, especially in a property where there's problems around you with neighbors or whatever it might be in your neighborhood, it really does work. It really does work. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Doreen Reynolds Dillon asked, is there a crystal for cancer? And Doreen, I have an answer for that. When my mother had cancer, I was at a wonderful crystal place in Quartzsite, Arizona. And in January and February, you get to go and pick out crystals. And I bought a giant, huge, huge red calcite. Red calcite is for blood. So it really helped my mom. I can't even tell you. And this crystal did a funny thing. My stepfather was out of town when I had 3 men carry it upstairs. It was so large. And he was out of town. And he was one of these guys, my stepfather, that he always had to know where everything was and he could always tell. And for some reason, this giant crystal hid from him. It cloaked itself and helped my mom. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen. He didn't see it. It was in their library and he didn't see it. James, giant red calcite. How would you miss it?
Wow.
I'm telling you, the crystal wanted to be there. So red calcite, I feel that is really good for blood, for cancer.
And other crystals that promote healing work would be good alongside that.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So when we
chakras and the different crystals for each point.
Yes. Let's do that. So if you're talking about, if we want to start with the root chakra, any stones that are black or brown or red, and I'll tell you a good one is carnelian. Carnelian. Do you remember carnelian? This is like a funny piece of it. Guess where I got this, James? With you in
Hawaii.
No, I got this from, when in Encinitas, when you first moved there was a woman who had a shop and she had red carnelian all over. She gave me a piece.
Really?
Yeah, she came to your big birthday party.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, I always love the stories of that. But smoky quartz is great for the root chakra, black tourmaline, black obsidian, petrified wood. Now, I'm not really into that. Are you, James?
No, I'm not really not. I've had it around me, but I haven't.
Okay. No. And that's, good for the it says hematite. I'm not familiar with that one, but and red jasper. So those are all good for the root chakras.
And ground you and makes you feel secure, and it also brings in financial stability as well.
Ooh.
Those properties down there, yeah.
Oh my gosh. And the second chakra, the sacral chakra, those would be orange, peach, and brown. So any stones that are those colors, carnelian again, amber, because we talked about amber, would be great for the second chakra. Copper. How do you feel about copper?
Yeah, I'm okay with copper, Kellee. It's okay. I never had any feeling toward it. To me, copper isn't a sense of, I don't know, for me personally, I like the color, but it doesn't feel like it breathes for me. It doesn't move for me.
Yeah, it's not my thing. But fire opal, second chakra, which I love a fire opal. I actually have one from Australia that Don brought me. Orange calcite, this is an orange calcite. Orange calcite also brings a lot of joy to people. So it's soft and it's one of these really great, it makes me happy, orange calcite. That's great for the second chakra.
It's also good for abuse issues. And because it's the second chakra, it's usually sexual abuse, emotional abuse. And that's very good in healing that.
Absolutely. I didn't even think about that. You're right. So the solar plexus chakra.
The yellow chakra, the power chakra.
So it would be yellow, gold, chartreuse stones, golden calcite, tiger's eye. Do you want to read a little bit about tiger's eye?
Now I have a story about tiger's eye.
Ooh, tell us.
Okay. Another Brazil story. So when I was in Brazil, I went to a place called Frei Luiz Center, which is a place that physical healing happens all the time. And it's through mediums that, it's a big story, but one medium that worked on me, and he was in a trance, and he was well known in that community. And he would go through my group. We laid down in kind of a clinic, I guess you'd say, 10 beds there. And this medium would go entranced to each person. And what he would do is transmute energy any negative energy in the etheric body, in the mental body as well. He would bring that through to the physical, and it was done through blood. You see blood, plasma coming out of your shirt. And that was from the mental body and the etheric. So it wouldn't stay there to create something of dis-ease or imbalance, and it would manifest as a plasma. And everybody, well, not everybody, but many people had these stains on their shirts. And then he came back to me, and I don't know if he knew that I was the head of the group or not, but he said to a translator, he took my hand, and I was kind of out of it, but I'm lying in this bed, and he pressed his hand to mine really strongly. And I felt something drop in my hand. It was just like this, and just next thing you know, and it was a tiger's eye. And he said to the translator, "This is to be used to Mr. James for protection in his work." And I've heard that tiger's eye can also be used for defense.
Wow!
Yeah, so that's one of those stones I carry with me all the time.
Oh,
isn't that weird? Wild story.
Wild story.
Tiger's eye. Yeah.
Wow.
I got a million of them, Kelly. I should write a book. For God's sake.
I wish you would.
So much to say.
Oh my God, there is so much to say. Itzia says it's great for solar plexus and strength too. Interesting.
Yes.
So the heart chakra, let's talk about that.
Emerald. Is it emerald?
Emerald, absolutely. Rose quartz, peridot. In fact, James, I gave you a piece of peridot. I have a piece up here. I didn't get it down. I have so many crystals. I didn't know what to.
Peridot, but yeah, I have one right here. The one you gave me is right. Yeah. Your picture on, and it does fall apart though.
Totally falls apart.
It's like wow.
Totally. Wow. Watermelon tourmaline. Oh, that's such a pretty piece. A tourmaline is that real, almost like looks like you could see through it. It's it's just a beautiful piece. I love that. Oh, pink calcite, malachite, all good for the heart chakra, which is great. The throat chakra, aquamarine, blue, teal, light blue. Let's see, chrysocolla is another one. Turquoise is another one for the throat chakra. Angelite. Now, I have a piece of angelite somewhere. Oh, I don't. But you know what I do have, which is also for this, is this a heavy piece? But I have a piece of celestite. And
I have a piece that you gave me that as well.
I'm sure I did.
You're talking about the throat chakra.
It's great for the throat chakra. Yes. I love that piece. So many of my pieces I just love so much.
I have blue slace agate and quartz, aqua quartz, turquoise, and blue quartz as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. Now the third eye, indigo and violet stones. Ooh, yes. Renee, show us the piece of lapis lazuli. I don't have a piece of that. I don't know why I don't, but I don't.
I have a story about that too.
Oh, I want to hear it. Renee, if you could put that picture up. Look at this. Isn't that a pretty picture? Beautiful. And that's lapis lazuli. So tell us your story, James.
I was on a cruise with Kellee White in Alaska once.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I remember.
I bought a ring. I bought a lapis ring. I think it was with you in that trip. I think that was the Alaska trip I was on.
It was.
I bought one of those rings, yes. Yes. But of course, I thought that it was a ripoff because the person just put the top layer. It was layered. It wasn't a full. It was not a full crystal. They just did a cutting of it, the top layer. So I was ripped off. So you gotta be careful with stuff like that.
You do have to be careful. So you were right. You do.
Well, I have your also third eye chakra. Third eye you're on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Satellite, right? Azurite, iolite, tanzan, or a quartz, blue tourmaline. Something I never heard of before called Shattuckite, Shattuckite. Shattuckite. Never heard of that. Blue apatite and blue kyanite.
Interesting. That's for the third eye, everybody.
Third eye.
Wow. So now for the crown chakra, which would be violet, gold, or white. So amethyst for sure. And clear quartz for sure.
Clear quartz for sure, 100%.
Sugarlight. Sugarlight's an interesting one.
Sugarlight, that's what I have down too. Sugarlight, never heard of it. Okay.
Yeah, that's a wonderful one. Selenite.
Clear calcite.
Clear calcite. And again, the calcites are so great. Apophyllite. Really does get you thinking about some of these.
Spirit quartz. There's something called spirit quartz.
Huh. I
And
haven't seen that.
there's another called Stichtite. Shetite.
Ah,
Shetite.
well, Maruda Keller says that Shukite is a copper mineral mix. Thank you. I appreciate that, Maruda. I had never heard of that one either.
No. No.
So Rebecca Har asked, are throat chakra crystals useful for thyroid?
Yes.
Yes, Rebecca.
Sure, definitely.
Yeah.
It activates that energy at that center. So whatever the organ that is the thyroid is that the throat chakra. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Linda Pintel says, is there a book that you can recommend that gives the info for the stones?
Well, here's one. That's a great one. It's a Bible called the Book of Stones. Who they
I think
are.
that's probably the best one.
It's a Bible, and it's by Robert Simmons and Nasha Asian. And I got this at a store in Laguna Beach when I lived there, at a crystal store. Became very friendly with the owner, and she said, "James, of all the books you buy, this is the #1 book to buy at crystals." So, the Book of Stones. It's great.
Wow.
You get it on Amazon. You get it on Amazon. There's also a stone called Prophecy Stone.
Oh, what's that?
Prophecy Stone. Interesting.
Oh, that is different.
Stone says, it's a grounding spiritual light in the physical self and the world, seeing prophetic vision. So if you want psychic development, you should have a prophecy stone around you.
Oh, there you go. How about that? Let me see. Can crystals help you heal from grief of losing a child to suicide? First of all, Sherry, I'm sorry for your loss. That's a big one. They can certainly help, and rose quartz would be my go-to with that. Would you agree with that, James? Rose quartz.
100%.
Yeah. And and get yourself also a nice piece of jewelry or something that you can feel on your neck or your wrist or something. That might really be helpful too.
And remember that with crystals, especially because it activates and intensifies what you're thinking as well, is you have to first get to a space where you realize this was not your fault. So you got to forgive yourself. Whenever there's a suicide, you got to realize, especially in moms, it's not your fault. It's a natural sense to take on that. I know, because I work with thousands of parents who lost children that way, and that's one of the first reactions. What could I have done? I should have, could have, would have, and you have to separate yourself from that, because don't do that. And the spirit wouldn't like that either. It's not like that.
That's so true. That's so true. I don't know the answer to this. What type of stone works for rheumatoid arthritis?
I don't know. When you find it, we'll let you know, because I'd like to know.
Well, I'll tell you what. Start with green calcite. Any green calcite is really great because you can feel it. It's soft. It picks up everything, and it's good for your hands to hold on to it. I think, Liz, give this one a try.
Yeah, I think sometimes you got to try it out and just see if it works for you. So it's very, very true. I'm going to look that up for just a second. So, okay, go on, Kelly. Next question.
Yeah. What would Kim Bracken says? What would be the best healing crystal for melanoma and other skin cancers? Again, I'm going to go with any of the calcites, the red calcite and the green calcite. That's my go-to for that.
And arthritis, I just have here, which makes a lot of sense. Anything that has to do with help with inflammation, such as aventurine, blue chalcedon, clear quartz, and agate. A special combination of stones acts as a natural anti-inflammatory together. This combination helps reduce inflammation, swelling, and the pain that results.
Okay, wow. We're being asked, what do we think about Moldavite? I actually don't know about Moldavite. Do you, James? Is that in the book?
Oh, I know Moldavite, if I'm correct. Yes, it is. I'm sure it is, because I have a piece of Moldavite. Supposedly, it's from outer space, right? Now they're out there, and it's part of a what's it called? A meteor.
Oh, great.
Yeah, and
I think those meteorite stones are wild. They always have such interesting energy. You have to be in the mood for that one.
How do you spell that?
MOLD, like mold, AVIT.
Got it. Okay. Transformation. Of course.
Wow.
Of course. Rapid spiritual evolution, especially this from the heavens. Rapid spiritual evolution.
Wow.
Chakra activation, cleansing, protection, increased incidence of synchronistic experiences. Moldavite.
Oh, I'm going to get
Also,
myself a piece of that.
yep, and the element is storm, which is very interesting. And asteroids, trips from asteroids. Remember, yep, to take a glassy mixture of silicon dioxide, aluminum oxide. Yes.
Wow.
Okay, here it is. Here it is. I knew it was out of this world. Scientific theorists believe differ regarding Moldavite's origin. Some contend that Moldavite is an earthy rock melted by the heat of a meteorite crash, while others suggest the material is of extraterrestrial origin, possibly a type of obsidian ejected by a lunar volcano. A third theory holds that Moldavite is a fusion product of meteoric material and earthy rock that were vaporized in the tremendous heat of the impact explosion, the resultant gas being propelled high into the atmosphere. This gaseous material would have been cooled and condensed to a liquid glass which rained down on the craters and surrounding areas. Regardless of which it is, if any, of these ideas is correct, it is known that Moldavite indeed fell from the sky because of the aerodynamic shapes of certain pieces, and virtually all scientists associated with the meteoritic collision that formed the Bohemian Plateau and surrounding mountains.
Oh my gosh. This is some stone.
Yeah, I have actually 2 or 3 pieces of Moldavite.
You do.
I do, and I use it. It's funny. I use it on the crown chakra.
Wow.
So I do it without knowing it. I know what it feels like. I use it to the crown chakra.
So interesting. Oh my gosh. Jonathan Monteo says, can I wear my crystals to bed?
You can, depending which ones they are.
Yeah, it depends on
grounding ones and healing, yes, but otherwise they might keep you awake. I mean,
might amplify you. Yeah.
Might amplify.
But for instance, like rose quartz might be very calming.
Yeah, and it can calm you down, or it can, and really just relax you. Is fine. But a lot of people crystals all of their rooms or bedrooms. They can't sleep because that's an activation as well. So it depends on the property of that crystal.
Yeah, that's very true. Oh my gosh, people are just loving this, James. Wow.
So when Jeremy Turner said, when I picked out my Moldavite, where I was holding it in my hand, felt like it was burning.
Oh my gosh, who knew?
And Wendy Roberts says, it's very interesting. In my opinion, best to go to a spiritual shop so you can see and hold the crystal you're interested in. Very true. I agree with you. And there are some crystals that I've been to in shops, stores, and they have a bunch of them there. And there's some that are dead. I mean, they have no life in it. Like they're dead. Totally. And I go right by those. Like, no, I don't like that.
Right. Right. Oh my gosh, that's so true.
It's such a personal thing too. It really is. Very, very much so.
Oh, it is. Wow. Well, this was a fun show, James.
It was great.
I hope everybody got a lot of good information. Rain Hounsel says, does the shape of the crystal change the energy? Maybe. It depends.
I think it depends on the shape of it, and if it's points where it's intensifying the activation. There's some that are very much pointed, so the energy intensifies there. That to me is like crystal wands and so forth.
Let me just mention that, if you don't mind, you've got the crystal wands. Yes,
I have a crystal wand. Yes, and my friend Jeff gave me that. Jeff's right here, and he's gonna. I think you gave me that. Did you give me that?
No, the one downstairs.
The one downstairs.
Oh my gosh, is there another one? Oh, that's a great one, James.
Yeah, this is one that I think someone gave me.
I love that one. Oh my God, so when you have a point in a crystal,
7 chakras.
7 chakras. Look how great that is. So number one, it can actually work as an air purifier in your space. Believe it or not, you could actually use that exactly. So that's really important. You can also cutting cords and sending healing energy to somebody.
True.
That's a good one. Also, to attract business or abundance to you. You can use it for that. You can also use it as...
Kellee, actually, 1 second. For the healing aspects, what I've done before, green for the heart and the healing, I'll put the stone there. I think it was an emerald stone. And I put the photograph of the person that I'm sending the healing to activate it even further, and it gets to that person. And it's all about the intention and using that energy and the activation the right way. So that would help with that for sure.
Oh, that's very powerful what you just said.
Yeah.
That's really powerful. Then it says here you can use it as a center point for a crystal grid. So one of the points, which is literally, it's great for meditation and stress. It's great for protection, and exactly for what you said, for setting focused intentions. And that's really probably the most powerful thing that a point does.
And what I talked about earlier, there are dead crystals and live crystals. What you can do when you get a crystal and you know the properties of that crystal, you can actually activate the crystal yourself.
Yes.
And I do it like I'm very ritualistic, so I like to create a ritual about the properties of this crystal and bringing that energy back to that crystal. I thank the crystal. I use it for this special purpose, and I do it's like a little ceremony. And I thank it for helping me with those different properties. So I've done that before, and I buy a crystal, and people have crystal altars as well. And I'm going to start putting crystals all around my garden. That's for darn sure.
Oh, I can't wait. Do you need any? You let me know.
Yeah, we have to go crystal shopping, I think, when you come out here.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. Yes, I can't wait. Well, gosh. And before we leave, I just want to say one thing too. We still have a few tickets left, just a few for Roots of Healing. For Roots of Healing, just a couple left.
When is that?
It's on July 24th. It's an intensive. I'll be holding my crystal for that. And it's going to be with Dr. Shirley and Carrie and me for an intensive. So July 24th. And James, what do you have coming up?
I don't think I have anything but my school, Kelly. I have a lot of school stuff going on. We're redoing the school, and doing Mediumship 2 is coming up.
Oh.
Where Mediumship 3 is over. If anyone's interested in Mediumship 3, that's tomorrow is the deadline for applications. I'm actually going through a lot of them now, and some people have to audition. Some people I've already know who they are and they've seen the work, and then some people I've turned away. So it's it's a level of mediumship that you got to do your thing. So it's good though. So Mediumship 2 is next month. We're starting that. Ooh. So if you're just go to school, there you go. Thank you, Renee, for putting that up. So that's what I have going on. And I'm developing another new course, and it's called The Game of Life. So I'm developing that for the end of, I'm developing for next year, but it's starting now. I'm in R&D, research and development right now with that. But at the end of the summer, we're having the animal course back. I'm bringing back Samantha Curry.
Oh, my goodness.
We're going to do a 3-day or 4-day animal course because it was so popular when I did that we're going to bring that back. So
how fun.
Yeah. So
that's such a good one for right now, because I was watching your show earlier and there's so many transitions of animals right now. So I think it's a great idea.
Slots.
Super.
Yeah, my doggie Maisie had a little problem with her left paw last week, and I have trouble with my left paw. So it was like daddy and daughter having a left paw problem. So
left paw.
We walked around in circles all day.
But the left is receiving. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you, everybody. That was fun, James.
Thanks, Renee. It was great. Okay.
You've been listening to Both Sides Now and Beyond, featuring spiritual medium and master teacher James Van Praagh and spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kellee White.
The James and Kellee Show.